to our guest straight away. Syed Zafar Islam, national spokesperson of the BJP with us, Dr. Swasti Rao with us, and Ambassador Prabhu Dayal also with us. My first question to Zafar Islam ji is, what is India's takeout going to be? This is the test of India's foreign policy. You got an adversary there, you got an enemy there, and you also have a nation which is wondering, are you switching sides?
Well, despite having adversary, despite having enemy country part of the summit, but you have a leader who has been respected in Narendra Modi ji, the Honorable Prime Minister, that he has been respected. He is being respected by every single leaders of the globe, including our enemy country, because what he has demonstrated in last 8 years is something, is a lesson, is a case study for many other countries and many other leaders. India has become strong under his leadership. Secondly, India always promotes stability, peace, reconciliation, and more importantly, India offers something which no other country offers, as you rightly pointed out, economy. It's an economy which is growing. It is an economy where everybody feels that their investment will grow many folds if they invest in India. India offers something which no other countries, in terms of cheap labor, in terms of market, in terms of many other benefits which India offers, which no other country offers. So India definitely has been approached by many other countries, and with bilateral discussions, India will definitely.
But how do you walk the tightrope between Russia, between wanting to buy crude oil from Russia and also perhaps keeping the Americans happy, but on the other hand give them a little bit of a warning, because they are already saying that we'll help you with the F-16, Swasti Rao. So balancing, walking that tightrope is not going to be easy.
Well, yes, absolutely. Good evening, Anand. Good to be back here. Like you said, I think the sine qua non, the bottom line of, I think, your comment was, yes, hello, am I audible?
Yes, Swasti Rao, okay. And then Zafar Islam ji.
Yeah, fine. So I'm saying that I think the sine qua non, the bottom line of what you wanted to say was perhaps impinging upon the act of balancing, right? So we need to keep in mind, you see, Anand, there are so many multilaterals, that are happening right now, and it's like it's just become the order of the day. So how do we then make sense of what is happening in Shanghai Cooperation Organization? Why is it important? Why is India there? You see, let me just try and give you a bit of a perspective as to what really is this particular thing and why are we there. You see, we are under no illusion that Shanghai Cooperation Organization or the kind of members that are there are in any way, India's strategic partners. I mean, if you look at China, look at Pakistan, it's just full of contradictions. But I'll tell you, India's engagement at the SCO is three-pronged. Basically, it is three issues that take us there. One is to definitely engage the Central Asians, the Iranians, and the Russians. Okay, Iranians, why? Because we are looking big time at the International North-South Maritime Corridor and Chabahar. Why the Central Asians? Because Central Asians right now are also eager to diversify. They feel too sandwiched between Russia and China. That's the first thing. The second thing, why India is there, is because India wants to balance the the growing footprint of China in the region. So this is the second reason why India is there. And the third reason why India is there, because India does not want to leave a security vacuum in Afghanistan, because there are important factors and important players that do play a role in Afghanistan. Okay, so it's because of that, we are under no illusion that we are by that, because of the regional anti-terrorist structure that SCO has, we are under no illusion that by that we are going to be combating terrorism in South Asia, because come on, isn't it contradictory? Pakistan is a member there, and Pakistan is the terror hub, right? I mean, Pakistan is the problem. So obviously we are under no such illusions. But my concluding remark on why SCO is important to India is that, of course, it is an act of balancing, and two, by not being at SCO, India runs the risk of not trying to counter the growing footprint of China. Being there, maybe the outcome may not be big enough, but missing the bus in terms of our not marking our participation would perhaps leave that entire area again over to China. So
somewhere culturally we are also more amenable to the Central Asians because the soft power works there. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, before I go back to Zafar Islam ji, quick, just bringing in Ambassador Prabhu Dayal. Who would you be watching, or what would you be watching? What comes out net takeout in the bilateral with Vladimir Putin, or whether or not there is a handshake with Xi Jinping? Ambassador Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, question was to
I
you,
thought
sir.
the question was to Mr. Zafar Islam.
No, question was to you, sir, and then I'll take this forward with Zafar Islamji.
All right. India's participation in the SCO Summit is extremely important for a number of reasons. Firstly, it emphasizes the fact that we are playing an increasingly important global role. We are the fifth largest economy, and our voice is heard in all centers which matter. Secondly, it emphasizes the fact that we pursue an independent foreign policy. Now, of course, the Americans may not be happy, but so what? The Americans have given Pakistan the F-16 upgrade equipment, despite the fact that we have conveyed our concerns to them.
Correct.
So we pursue an independent foreign policy which suits our own interests. Now, what are our interests vis-a-vis the SCO? Firstly, we do not want it to be driven by China and Pakistan to pursue their agendas. Our participation is important to neutralize things in this regard. Secondly, if there are concerns about Russia being a participant there, so what? We have time-tested and well-established relations with Russia. And if the Europeans could be buying energy from them, so what? We can also be buying. Thirdly, as was mentioned by some earlier panelists, with Iran, we have historical ties. I have served in Iran for 3 years, and I know that there is a lot of goodwill in that country for India. Now, we should even consider buying not just from Russia, our oil needs, but even look at the Iranian option, because everyone is pursuing a policy to meet their own interests first.
Right.
And as Dr. Swasti Rao mentioned, the Central Asian countries are very important. Let me also remind you that Kazakhstan is a major oil producer, and Turkmenistan is the fifth largest producer of natural gas in the world. So by engaging with the member countries of the SCO, we would be serving our interests, we would be able to actively pursue our foreign policy, and if some countries don't like it, so be it.
But this route to Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan will all go via Chinese and Pakistani occupied territories, and that's going to present the biggest challenge because historical blunders will come back to haunt us. But Zafar Islam, what are you looking at? 2 big 3 takeaways that India should actually look for, and you would come back and talk post this summit and once the Prime Minister comes back.
Well, Anand, first of all, you have to understand last 8 years, India has emerged as a very strong country because of the policy we have adopted, foreign policy we have followed. And I agree with our former diplomat, Mr. Dayal. He was spot on when he narrated exactly what is the dynamics of SCO and what India is aspiring to achieve in this from this summit. But having said that, one thing is very clear, and that is what we have demonstrated under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, that we will always safeguard our interests, we will always prioritize our interests, and we will never compromise with our interests. That is something which time and again we have demonstrated. We know exactly what we need to achieve from this summit, and we will eventually achieve because we have certain interests, and we know that there are member countries with whom we have a scheduled bilateral discussion, like Ibrahim Raisi of Iran, and for that matter the President of Kazakhstan. But we know exactly what the conversation will take place in that meeting, and what we need to achieve out of this, and what should be the outcome of the conversation and the dialogue between the two leaders. And we are confident
if Xi Jinping comes across and tries to get the Prime Minister's attention at that photo op, when it will happen at the summit, there will be a time. What will be India's reaction? How should if a Shehbaz Sharif walks out of the way to meet the Prime Minister to score that point ahead of the FATF on-site? See, these are the issues. These are things which will happen.
No, India is known for a courteous country, and if a leader of another country walks up to the Honorable Prime Minister and he